Sarah's hands trembled as she entered the office. Her heart raced, each beat echoing like a drum in her ears. At 25, she should have been conquering the world, building her career and living her dreams. Instead, she found herself frozen, seated in the comfortable chair across from Dr. Michael, unable to form the words that had been locked inside her chest for months. The therapy room was unlike anything she had imagined. Soft, golden light filtered through cream-colored curtains, casting gentle shadows across the sage-green walls. Books of every shape and size lined the shelves, and a small water fountain in the corner gurgled quietly, adding a calming rhythm to the space. It was warm, inviting, and soothing, a stark contrast to the sterile, intimidating offices she had feared. Dr. Michael was younger than she expected, perhaps 30, with kind eyes framed by wire-rimmed glasses. There was a gentle patience in the way he settled into his chair, a quiet confidence that immediately put her at ease. Yet despite this, the words remained trapped inside her, each one suffocated by fear and anxiety. "Take your time," he said softly, his voice a comforting anchor. "There is no pressure here." Sarah had always been quiet. In school, teachers called her shy. In college, professors barely noticed her presence at the back of the room. At work, she watched as colleagues shared ideas freely while she remained silent, her thoughts trapped behind an invisible wall. Her selective mutism had worsened over the past year. Meetings became torture sessions. Phone calls felt impossible, and even ordering coffee required summoning every ounce of courage she possessed. Her family's constant encouragement to just speak up only deepened her shame. They could now understand that her silence was not stubbornness or rudeness. It was as if her voice belonged to someone else entirely. "I know this is difficult," Dr. Michael said gently, his tone carrying warmth and understanding. "You are not alone in this struggle." He paused, seemingly weighing his next words carefully. "When I was your age, I experienced something very similar. I spent 2 years of graduate school barely speaking above a whisper. My professors thought I was disinterested. My classmates assumed I was arrogant. But inside, I was drowning." For the first time, Sarah looked up, meeting his eyes. There was no judgment there, only understanding born from shared experience. "It took me a long time to realize that silence was not my weakness," he continued. "It was my protection mechanism. My mind was trying to keep me safe from something that felt overwhelming." Over the following weeks, Sarah began to find small pieces of her voice. Dr. Michael never rushed her, never demanded more than she could give. Instead, he taught her breathing techniques that quieted the storm in her chest and helped her identify the thoughts that made speaking feel dangerous. "Your voice matters," he reminded her during one session. "Your thoughts, your ideas, your perspective, they all have value. The world needs what you have to offer." Slowly, Sarah practiced in safe spaces. She started reading aloud in the empty therapy room, letting the sound of her own voice echo softly. Then she began speaking her thoughts into her phone's voice recorder at home, each small victory monumental. Dr. Michael shared stories from his own journey, how he had transformed sensitivity into strength and quietness into thoughtful leadership. He showed her that healing was not about becoming someone else, but about finding courage to be authentically herself. "The most powerful voices," he told her one afternoon, "often belong to those who have learned the weight of words through silence." 3 months later, Sarah raised her hand during a team meeting at work. Her voice was soft but clear as she shared an idea she had been nurturing for weeks. The room listened intently, and her supervisor later praised her insight. That evening, she called her mother without the familiar knot of anxiety in her stomach. She spoke about her day, her progress, and her hopes for the future. Standing in front of her bathroom mirror, Sarah practiced the words she would share at tomorrow's presentation. Her reflection looked different, not because her appearance had changed, but because she recognized the strength that had always lived within her. Dr. Michael had been right. True courage was not about speaking the loudest or most often. It was about finding the bravery to be vulnerable, to seek help, and to trust that her voice, however quiet, deserved to be heard. Her journey was far from over, but for the first time in years, Sarah felt ready to face whatever came next. She had rediscovered something precious that had never truly been lost: herself. The young woman who had once trembled at the thought of speaking now understood that her greatest strength lay not in becoming fearless, but in choosing courage despite fear. And in that choice, she found hope, resilience, and a voice she could finally call her own.